Hello, my name is Ben Lovely, and this is my project on student engagement. Engaging students is sometimes harder than one might think when dealing with dry subject matter. I'm sure we can all relate to the following scene.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? A tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, anyone, raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression.
So what if it didn't have to be this way? Student engagement is key for active learning to occur. I've chosen to speak on the application and performance student engagement technique number 33, Jigsaw. In Jigsaw, students work in small groups to develop knowledge about a given topic and to formulate effective ways of teaching it to others. This strategy works on the premise that teaching something to others requires an understanding of the subject matter beyond surface learning. Jigsaw is helpful in motivating students to accept responsibility for learning something well enough to teach it to their peers. Best practices include choosing a topic which will be simple enough for students with a good grasp of subject matter to teach to their peers, yet complex enough to require discussion and the design of interesting strategies for instruction, and also have sufficient subtopics or divisions to form enough groups to engage the whole class. Be clear which division each group is to work on. In my class, being able to read and understand the sequence of operation of motor control circuits is important. In the upper levels of electrical apprenticeship, students should be able to explain the method of operation for a circuit, evaluate pros and cons of using a given braking method, and spot safety concerns. This makes for an exceptionally boring lecture. By using Jigsaw, the instructor can pose guiding questions, then split the class into groups of 2 or 3 to become experts on each type of braking method. After the subgroups have become experts on their given method, the students would typically reform different groups where only one student is an expert on a given method. That student would be tasked with teaching this new group how their method works. In my classroom, I prefer a variation where groups choose a spokesperson for an all-class review. The spokesperson makes a presentation to the whole class, and the remaining group members can elaborate or contribute additional views. In Jigsaw, the educator takes on a facilitator role. Their job is to ask probing questions and push the students to challenge the depth of their understanding. They also set the framework of the activity by asking guiding questions. On the other hand, the learner takes on the role of educator. The use of teams is important as students are more successful with understanding concepts when they have the opportunity to bounce ideas off one another. Pros of using Jigsaw? Well, by teaching peers, students will develop a deeper understanding of the subject matter. Students will also improve their interpersonal relationships by working together. And a lot can be said for a change of pace. There's a certain novelty with students being at the front of the classroom instead of merely attending a lecture. Be careful not to overuse Jigsaw, however. Once or twice a semester preserves the novelty of this activity. Cons of using Jigsaw include the fact that weaker students may not be able to effectively teach the topic. This makes choosing group members an important task of the instructor. Introverted students are at risk of disengaging if they are asked to address the class. This can be remedied by having these students contribute in the small group, but allowing someone else to be the spokesperson. And finally, there can be an image of teachers shirking the responsibility to the students. It is very important to have a pre-activity discussion on the value of teaching others, as well as to have a closure activity led by the instructor. This is an excellent opportunity for students to receive feedback. It can also be useful to hold a class discussion on what strategies used by classmates were most effective. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit about Jigsaw. Go ahead and try it in your classroom.